Young, in love, and out of control.
Both of them had a temper.
You're a pig!
If one temper wasn't flaring, the other one was.
A couple that's determined to walk the line.
He gave her any and everything she wanted that he could possibly give her.
But kids will be kids.
At some point, Marseille realizes, I have absolutely no control.
She was just very defiant.
And when this marriage tips over the edge, the fun stops and the games begin.
You know this little voice that everybody has inside that tells you something's wrong? It's just not there. They have no conscience.
Love may be blind and marriage bliss, but divorce is murder. Nacogdoches, known as the oldest town in Texas. It's a sleepy place with a slow pace of life.
I mean, it's basically country. For the most part, you've got pretty simple people who enjoy sort of a basic lifestyle, and it's not very complicated.
But even in Nacogdoches, life can move fast. After dropping out of high school, Marseille Calloway marries and gets pregnant with her daughter, Shayna. By age 22, she's divorcing her second husband and has just given birth to her second daughter, Caitlin. But 2 failed marriages won't stop her from looking for the right man. Finally, in 1992, she thinks she might have found him. His name is James Kelly.
Well, we were all up at the plaza one night and heard about this party. And it just so happened it was out at her house. Me and James wound up out there.
Hey, Marseille, right?
James, right? How are you?
I'm good.
Who invited you here? Just kidding. Come on in. Have a drink.
Hey, thanks.
And then it just kind of took off from there.
What do you say we go for a ride?
Gotta go to work tomorrow morning.
19-year-old James has a bad boy reputation, making him irresistible to Marseille.
James has a smile that when he smiled, his eyes and everything smiled. And his right cheek had a dimple in it.
Marseille may not have any dimples, but she's got something else to offer.
Daisy Duke shorts, low-cut tops. She wore some real skimpy clothes. Basically, a real good body, I'll put it that way.
Marseille and James bond over fast cars, big trucks, but most of all, mud.
I think part of it was because she did like the mudding and stuff. They could do that together from the time he was a little bitty thing. He would love to play in the mud or anything and build anything. Just mudding was his thing, being out there and being dirty.
For James, motors and mechanics is more than just a hobby. It's his life.
Back when he was a little kid, he's always taking something apart and trying to put it back together. He started off with bicycles and lawnmowers and just worked his way up. He was just a great mechanic.
James couldn't sit still. He's got to be doing something. And he loved tinkering and fixing things.
Even though Marseille comes with some baggage and a tough girl attitude, James doesn't seem to care. He knows she had a rocky start in life.
Her mother was killed, the way I understand it, in a motorcycle wreck.
She was a real rough girl. Wouldn't take nothing off of nobody, that type of person.
And James himself is no saint.
He was on probation from something back in when he was 17. He was told that some stuff had been given to this couple, and he went and helped them move one load. And it wasn't give to them, they were stealing it.
Time for bed, okay, sweetie?
But for now, James is on the straight and narrow. And when he falls for Marseille, he gets to show his gentler side.
I'll tell you a bedtime story. How about that? Huh?
James had a real soft heart. He had a temper, but he also had a heart. And he felt like that if he could help her, and he loved her.
Come on.
This love affair begins with a spark. But after a few months, James and Marseille's relationship turns explosive.
Told me you'd watch the girls twice. I asked you.
I told you like 3 times. I got the guys coming over.
You're a pig. This is my one night to go out.
Oh, just shut up.
Or you're a psycho.
James it's gonna be his way or no way. He's real headstrong. And Marseille didn't like that. So they butted heads a little bit. A little while later, they cooled down, you know. It'd be over with.
Despite their differences, Marseille seems like she's ready to commit. They even apply for a marriage license. But James gets cold feet.
Don't be mad. Like I told you, I want to make it special.
It was something that she pushed for, and James just wasn't ready, you know. She wanted to go in front of just the justice of the peace and get married. And he told her no, that he would be married one time in his lifetime, and that he wanted to be married in a church.
Marseille doesn't wait for James to change his mind. She looks for new pastures and has a third child with another man. While James sows some seeds of his own and fathers a baby boy with another woman, a baby who's adopted by his parents. But something just keeps pulling them back together.
Hey.
How you doing?
What are you doing around these parts?
Oh, I just driving by, saw you. Thought I'd say hi.
Psychotherapist Stacy Kaiser and forensic psychologist Brian Russell see a rocky road ahead for this relationship.
I really look at Marseille as almost like a wild horse who's been running around everywhere, and yet there's a part of her that sort of wants to settle down and be tamed. So her way of flitting from man to man is her way of trying to find stability, trying to find a place that feels like comfort and home, and yet somehow it makes her uncomfortable and she's not really able to get connected in that way.
I think that difficult childhoods breed difficulties with attachment in adulthood. And what then can happen and what you could see in their relationship cycles is this roller coaster of sort of idealization and demonization of other people, where one moment they love them, the next minute they can't get far enough away from them.
James' cautiousness, his cold feet, I actually think is a good sign. It might mean that he's maturing a little bit, that he realizes if this relationship is meant to be, then he can take his time and it will still happen.
After 3 years of on-again, off-again romance, this chaotic couple finally decides to get hitched. The date is set for Valentine's Day, 1995. But a minor quarrel forces a major change of plan.
100 degrees in here. Why don't you just fix the damn fan already?
They got in a fight, but something about he was putting up a ceiling fan. And some reason or another, they got into it.
You want me to fix the fan? Huh? Well, I ain't fixing no damn fan!
He got in the truck to leave because he wasn't gonna stand there and holler at her and stuff.
Knowing that James has been drinking, Marseille calls the local sheriff's office.
I'd like to report a drunk driver on Route 29.
Well, she called in on him. So he got a DUI.
Because James is already on probation for his past conviction, this latest charge sends him straight to jail.
Just on my way home.
Then she tried to drop it, but it didn't work.
But while James is doing his 18 months behind bars, life takes a sudden and tragic turn.
They didn't make it out. Both of them burned in there.
Two-time divorcee Marseille Calloway wants to settle down. But the matchup with car-crazy James Kelly has hit a roadblock. After a drunken fight over a ceiling fan, James is doing time for a parole violation. As James cools his heels in prison, the mercury rises. In June 1995, a heat wave smothers East Texas. Marseille's adoptive mother is minding the kids when an air conditioner shorts out, with tragic results.
She had all 3 of Marseille's kids at her house, and the house caught on fire. And she got all of them out except for Marseille's middle child.
Marseille's adoptive mother makes a heroic attempt to get the child out of the house.
And she went back in to get her, and they didn't make it out. Both of them burned in there. Caitlin was only 4 years old.
The fact that her daughter died in her adoptive mother's house would probably fill her with a lot of guilt and anguish. It would be one of those situations where she would be thinking to herself, had I done this differently, I might have been able to prevent it.
Well, I think tragedy can have a huge impact upon where people are in life and where they're ready and equipped to go from there. And so, yeah, I think this loss could have profound implications on everybody involved.
James stands by the family, even from prison.
The sheriff's department carried him out there so he could go to the funeral.
But Marseille prefers to deal with her grief more privately.
He writes her, and he writes me and tries to get me to get her to come up there to see him, and she wouldn't go.
James is released from prison after 18 months. This young couple have lived fast, screwed up, and suffered more than their share of bad luck. Now they want to put their past behind them. James and Marseille are ready for a fresh start.
James stayed because he loved her. There was no doubt. He put up with a lot of stuff that nobody else would have put up with.
Marseille and her 2 daughters move in with James in the small town of Cushing, 22 miles away from Nacogdoches. The couple, still unmarried, resolves to get their act together. Marseille begins training to be a respiratory therapist. James buys a truck with his best friend, Kevin, and begins to build a hauling business. It means hard work and long hours.
The first one that he bought was him and his friend, Kevin. He got it, and they'd slip seats. It run 24 hours a day. He'd run it in the daytime, and Kevin would run it at night.
Pretty soon, James sets up his own company, James Kelly Trucking.
He started off a little rough as a teenager and grew up, and I mean, he got real responsible, and he was running 3 trucks. You know, I mean, he was on his way up.
I am reluctantly optimistic about Marseille and James's chances of turning their lives around. It looks like they're planning for the future, but based on their past and the fact that they met so young, I still want to make sure that they really have all of that under control.
I'm surprised about each one of their efforts to sort of improve themselves. I'm surprised that somebody coming out of prison actually started his own thing and put his nose to the grindstone and made it be successful. So at this point, I'm the most optimistic I've been about the possibility that they have become the kind of people who might be able to sustain a long-term relationship with one another.
Marseille and James, who are used to living paycheck to paycheck, are now out of the red and living the good life. They move into a new home.
It was huge. It had everything. Her closet was bigger than my bedroom.
They owned multiple vehicles, jet skis, 4-wheel ATVs, things like that. Obviously, they were successful.
James's favorite way of spending his hard-earned money is on Marseille.
So what do you think?
Oh my gosh. I think this is great. Mwah.
He loved her. He gave her any and everything she wanted that he could possibly give her. There's not too many women has 4 or 5 vehicles to drive, and they weren't cheap ones.
He always bought her a car when she wanted one. If James couldn't afford it right then, I mean, he'd pull a few extra loads, do whatever he had to do to get it for her.
I think that James had a desire not just to provide for his family, but for his family, his children, to do better than he had and not to make some of the mistakes that he had made.
On Valentine's Day 2003, Marseilles and James finally have their church wedding.
That was one of the happiest days in his life.
But for this couple, happiness always comes with a catch. And this time, that catch is Marseille's daughter, Shayna.
She didn't want him there. She didn't want to be there. She was just very defiant.
Marseille and James Kelly are rebuilding their life after breakups, prison time, and the tragic death of Marseille's middle daughter. With new jobs and more money, the Texan sun is shining on the Kelly family. There's just one cloud on the horizon, Marseille's eldest daughter. Typical teenagers, Shayna and her friends have started to rebel.
I mean, I think all they basically did was drank and did drugs and didn't go to school and stayed out late. And there's a river bottom area that they used to go hang out at night. And you know, I don't think they did anything positive down there.
It's just out in the middle of nowhere and no civilization out there. Just a place to be. They can drink their beer, do whatever they want to, and, you know, more than likely they're not going to be bothered.
Shayna has more freedom than the average 13-year-old.
Are we going back to my place or your place?
She did what she wanted. She come and went as she pleased. She always had a boyfriend, some type, or a bunch of boys hanging around. She just got wild.
She was in sexual relationships with a number of these boys. And I say boys, they were men. They were in their late teens and early 20s. Shayna's looking for somebody to love her, and she keeps going through these men.
In my opinion now, that they were druggies, you know, that they was just not people I would pick for my kids to be with.
From the outside, James, Marseille, and the girls could be mistaken for a hard-working, respectable, functional family, if Shayna wasn't spinning out of control. Her behavior puts more and more strain on a marriage that's hardly had time to settle into a routine.
Shayna was giving him a lot of problems, which was causing friction between Marseille and James.
James tried to talk to Marseille about her, tried to talk to Shayna.
You know, James was trying to teach her, you know, how to respect people, and she just basically bucked him the whole way.
Shayna hated James. She didn't want him there. She didn't want to be there. She would not obey any rules he had. She was just very defiant.
Marseille, on the other hand, had a very strange relationship with her daughter, Shayna. I would describe them more as friends than a mother-daughter relationship.
He has a car and a small job, and I mean...
Who cares about a car?
You have to admit, he's pretty hot.
I didn't mean anything.
Shayna could get away with anything. Didn't matter what it was.
Marseille wanted Shayna to be able to do what she wanted to. Just basically gave Shayna free rein. And James wasn't going to tolerate that.
Shayna has had a childhood filled with instability, and so it would make sense that if that child didn't have their emotional issues properly dealt with, that they could take a wrong turn and end up rebellious and destructive, which is what we're seeing here with Shayna.
Marseille had had a difficult, sort of unsettled childhood and adolescence of her own. And so it's not surprising to me that she's now sort of ill-equipped to do something that's hard for most parents, which is to figure out how to navigate her child through adolescence successfully.
I can say this, You do want to be friends with your child, but you have to know when that friendship ends and when the parenting begins.
Marseille seems to want to accept Shayna as she is, and that's insane. Basically, all Marseille's doing is guaranteeing that the same cycle of dysfunction that she lived through is going to be repeated now in Shayna's life.
In an attempt to defuse the tension in the house, Marseille allows 14-year-old Shayna to move out and shack up with an 18-year-old boy.
That's just something that's amazing to me, that a mother would let something like that happen.
It makes James angry, but there's not much he can do about it.
It seemed that James was often busy running his trucking business.
Shayna's the one who's deciding when she comes and goes, where she stays, whether she's going to school or not going to school, who she's seeing.
When Shayna moves back in 2 years later, she's still causing conflict, especially when she befriends 23-year-old Dallas Christian, a feckless young man who's already had run-ins with the law.
Hey, Dallas.
Marseille knew that she was involved with Dallas. In fact, there was a conversation where Marseille told Dallas that he could have sex with Shayna at their house since she knew that his mother did not approve of that.
And there's another friend, very different from Dallas. 15-year-old Colton Weir is younger, less worldly, and out of his league.
Hey guys, do you mind if I hang out with you?
Sure, why not?
Colton didn't have a lot of friends until he got involved with Shayna, and they sort of took advantage of his vulnerability in that way.
I believe that he was very easily malleable, which makes him dangerous in my mind.
Shayna has given up school completely in favor of having a good time. James and Marseille reach the end of their tether and take it out on each other.
Well, both of them had a temper, and if one temper wasn't flaring, the other one was.
She's my daughter. Let her be.
Yeah, I get it. Just shut up.
You're not even here anyways.
Yeah, well, if you were a better mother, you wouldn't be in this friggin' mess.
I've seen him with busted lips. I've seen him with bloodshot eyes where she'd hit him.
They're both angry. They seem to have conflict in their relationship, and because they're impulsive people, they don't have other skills to sort of talk things out.
I would say having one hot-headed, impulsive person in a relationship makes it difficult enough. Having two makes the chances of that relationship working out in the long term extremely low.
It's not just Marseille who's becoming violent.
Shayna's running the show out there. At some point, Marseille realizes, I have absolutely no control. The tail is wagging the dog.
Marseille had called Shayna to come home. She wanted her to clean her room. Marseille gets in an argument with her.
Just leave me alone, you stupid freaking loser.
And Shayna kind of showing out in front of her friends and assaulted Marseille.
You're an ungrateful whore.
It's hard to understand how a parent and a 16-year-old could have a physical confrontation. But apparently, because of this lack of discipline and lack of parenting for all these years, when Shayna does do something crazy and hits her mom, Marseille doesn't know how to deal with it. All she knows to do is call the police and get law enforcement involved.
For once, James and Marseille find themselves in agreement. Things have gone too far. Even so, James is too busy to spend time on yet another family crisis. Saturday, October 22nd should be a day off. Instead, he's hard at work fixing one of his trucks. At 6 p.m., Marseille begins her night shift at Lufkin Memorial Hospital. The children are spending the night with various family members, all except for Shayna.
Dallas and Colton and Shayna had been a number of different places, just kind of roaming around.
James gets home late to an empty house, then calls Marseille.
He called her about 3:30 in the morning and told her that he was fixing to go to bed and to call him about 7 the next morning to wake him up so he could finish his truck, because they were going to go out to her niece's and have Sunday dinner.
Asking for his wake-up call is the last thing James will ever do. When Marseille calls James from the hospital later that morning, he doesn't pick up. She calls James's stepfather, David Bone.
She calls Mr. Bone and asks Mr. Bone to go next door and wake him up. He went inside. The room was very dark. James had a sheet pulled up over his head. He kept calling his name and James wouldn't wake up. He even took his walking stick and kind of poked James once and James wouldn't wake up. So he went out and called Marseille back and said, I tried to wake James up, but he wouldn't get up.
He ain't moving. You want me to wake him?
And she was very insistent that he go back, that James must get up, that he had to go wake James up. So Mr. Bone went back inside the room. This time he pulled the sheet away from James's head. When he pulled the sheet away, he immediately saw that James was dead and that he had been shot in the head.
Hello? I'm on my way.
It was a Sunday morning, and the phone rang. Big David, he told me, he said, man, I'm sorry. I said, sorry? He says, yeah, something happened to your brother. I don't think your brother's with us no more. I throw the phone down, run in there and put my blue jeans on and just throw some socks on, and I take off through the woods, to the trail, and get up there to the house, and it all kind of went blurry from that point.
It didn't seem real that he could possibly be gone. I said, have you called an ambulance? He said, yes, but it won't do any good.
James appears to have a single shotgun wound to the face, and there's a gun found near the body.
There was a BB gun, pellet gun thing, laying on the floor. They thought it might have been that he committed suicide. And they come to ask me that, and I said, no, he would not have done that, no.
It's clear that a bigger weapon caused the fatal injury.
The way he had been shot in the face, just the scene itself, it wasn't a suicide.
There's no sign of a break-in, and James's phone is off the hook, lying on the floor. The last number dialed was Marseille. Everything else looks normal, but there is something odd about Marseille's reaction when she gets home.
She started driving home. By her account, she became somewhat hysterical and called a family friend, Kevin Dill, to meet her at a store and drive her the rest of the way. Mr. Dill's description was that as they approached the Cushing area, she just dropped this emotion and suddenly became very calm and very matter-of-fact and asking, well, I wonder what might have happened to him. And he found that very, very odd.
And she walked up on the porch and she asked the investigator,
is he dead?
And he said yes. She went around him, got the dog food, and went and fed the dog.
People handle grief differently. And it may have been that Marseille was in shock, which is often the first stage when a person is grieving. And shock can lead a person to sort of get involved in basic everyday activities instead of feeling whatever it is that they're feeling.
Since none of the family was at home that night, there are no witnesses and precious few leads.
James was fairly well liked. He's not somebody that had a bunch of enemies. He's not somebody that was involved in some nefarious activity. He just appeared to be a regular guy.
But this regular guy did have at least one mortal enemy.
He was very, very emotional. He was very, very distraught. He was very, very scared.
The Kelly marriage has been stretched to a breaking point after they lose control of Marseille's wayward daughter. When James is found shot and killed in bed, the cops question the one person with whom he clashed repeatedly.
During the interview process with Shana, she was very uncooperative. She would just basically flit around and make a lot of noise.
Still, the erratic 16-year-old has an alibi.
Shana said that she had been out with some friends at the Shawnee River bottom and picked some guy up, and they went riding around and bought a pizza and went over to a friend's house.
Like I said, we were all down by the river.
Shana's boyfriend, Dallas, confirms her story. Detectives are at an impasse.
When the cops are investigating a murder, they almost always treat the investigation sort of like a series of concentric circles, sort of like a bullseye target where you start at the center and you look in the person's immediate circle first. And then if you can't find suspects there, then you sort of progressively work your way outward.
When I look at this situation and take into account that there didn't seem to be any forced entry or robbery or anything, it does certainly look like it's someone that knew him.
The next day, the police expect Shana's friend Colton will tell them the exact same version of events. At first, the story matches that of his friends. But he's beginning to sweat.
I know you want to tell me something. Your friends are going to spill the beans eventually. You really don't want to be the last one to fess up.
He was very, very emotional. He was very, very distraught. He was very, very scared.
Okay. So this is how it went down.
To the surprise of the investigators, Colton lays out a very different and shocking version of the night's events.
I mean, Colton just came clean, and he told him everything that happened. I mean, from beginning to end.
According to Colton, the three young people did spend most of the night partying, along with two other friends.
Well, they were all hanging out at the Shawnee River bottom.
But when they leave in the early hours of the morning, it's not for pizza. Instead, the five of them drive to the Kelly house.
She and Dallas, Christian, and Colton had picked up two people at a party and had them in the car.
The two passengers are both unaware of what's going on, but Shana, Dallas, and Colton appear to have a plan.
Shana and Colton get out of the car. Dallas pops the trunk open. They get something out of the trunk.
They had already picked up a rifle and they'd had it several days in her car.
They put on gloves when they got out of the car to go in to the house. Those little plastic gloves, rubber gloves.
According to Colton's confession, Colton and Shana entered the house, and Colton shot him from a close range with a .30-30 rifle. Back of the car, Shana asked Colton, "Did you do it?" And Colton said yes. They drove to a spot called the Goodman Bridge that crosses the Angelina River.
Colton throws the gun out into the river. They also take the gloves that Shana had and a sweater, and they attempt to burn those in a little burn pile there by the river.
Colton's story checks out.
Well, we found the rifle. The rifle was found in the river. There was evidence where they had burnt gloves and a sweater that they was wearing.
Within 24 hours, Shayna, Dallas, and Colton are charged with James Kelly's murder. Police are starting to figure out why Colton pulled the trigger. He was led to believe Shayna had been physically and emotionally abused by her stepfather.
I mean, I know that both Dallas and Shayna would talk about how abusive James Kelly was and how much it upset Shayna. I mean, they just got him so mad and so rageful that he was able to do it without really giving it a second thought, because he thought someone's hurting my friends, and so I'm going to do what I have to do to protect my friends.
Shayna had a strong personality. She was just able to convince people to do what she wanted.
Colton was just manipulated, plain and simple. And I think he felt a little bit like the knight in shining armor.
Colton's gullibility seals his fate.
When I'd met him, I knew he'd already admitted to it. To realize that I'm talking to a 15-year-old whose life is basically over, one way or another.
Because Colton is not very sophisticated, he was really susceptible to someone like Shayna. He would be lured in by her tale of abuse and feel sympathetic and not think about what he was really doing and the consequences.
Guys have almost an innate rescuer instinct in them, and it's not always just for the benefit of somebody else. They think there's something in it for themselves maybe a lot of times, but even sociopathic guys, even guys who are developmentally not very far along, still can have that rescuer instinct.
As for Dallas, the cops struggle to understand why he would get involved in such a high-risk crime.
Dallas probably had the least invested in all of this. I think Dallas kind of saw it as a lark. It was something different to do. And all he's really doing in his mind is driving them. It's not like he's pulling a trigger or anything.
They believe Shayna's motive is more complicated.
Shayna didn't like James. In the same way that Marseille was busy seeking Shayna's approval, Shayna attempted to be trying to seek Marseille's approval part of the time too. I think to an extent, because of this kind of twisted relationship between the two of them, she wanted to do something to help her mom.
So stupid, why am I even here?
Shayna denies any involvement in the killing, but no one, including Marseille, believes her.
She come up to the house, and I was gonna go with her to pick out his casket and everything. And we started out the door, and I asked her, I said,
do you think Shayna really did it?
You know, Shayna, even when you see her do something, she'll still lie about it.
She was being real weepy, like, poor little widow, and everything.
But when the cops arrive, the family will discover that the real story has yet to emerge.
I really don't think Shayna is smart enough to do something like that. She had to have help.
James Kelly is shot dead in a cold-blooded hit. And after Colton Weir confesses, the police think they know the whole story. That Shayna persuaded her friends to carry out the killing after telling them that she'd been abused by James.
I don't doubt that at some point Shayna told him that James had hurt her or James had beat her mother or whatever she had to tell him to make him think that he would be saving her.
But there's an added motivation for Colton: possessions worth thousands of dollars. A reward that could only be offered up by one person.
It was Marseille. She was the one who told us we could have all of his stuff.
Colton says the compensation was offered not by Shayna, but by Shayna's mother, Marseille.
I mean, in essence, he said, that Marseille wanted him to kill James Kelly. Colton was going to get a boat and a four-wheeler.
Shayna's boyfriend, Dallas, backs up Colton's claim that Shayna and Marseille masterminded the killing together.
I think Marseille's the one that come up with the plan, because I really don't think Shayna is smart enough to do something like that. She had to have help.
Marseilles is charged with capital murder, and she is the first to stand trial.
The case against Marseilles was mostly circumstantial, and Marseilles never had a direct connection to Colton, and that made it difficult to prove capital murder.
Undeterred, the prosecution lays out their case.
Hey, Mom? Yeah, how you going?
Cell phone records prove that on the night of the murder, Marseilles and Shayna were making numerous calls to each other.
There were a number of witnesses who said that during the day on Saturday, Shayna kept calling her mom and asking, where's he at now?
Perhaps Marseilles needed to know exactly when James was turning in for the night in order to cue Shayna. As for the phone by James's bedside, someone had made a call to Marseilles and left the phone line open.
We speculated that Shayna had actually picked up the phone and called Marseilles when she and Colton were in the room to kill him so that Marseilles could hear what was going on.
I think it is possible, knowing that there has been violence between Marseilles and James, that she wanted to hear him be killed, either for proof that it actually happened, or so that she could get some kind of a twisted pleasure out of hearing his final moments.
An alternate explanation for why the phone was left in the state that it was could just be an additional effort to sort of back up Marseilles' alibi, that she was not on the scene. And if he was trying to call her, then of course that supports that theory that she was somewhere else.
Marseilles said that she thought maybe the cat had knocked the phone over, which really didn't make a whole lot of sense, but that was the best story she could come up with.
The prosecution also believe they have a motive.
The state implied during the trial that the motive for Marseilles and Shayna to kill James was a $100,000 life insurance policy.
Hey, hon.
Hey, how you doing?
And the selling of James's trucks and his personal vehicles.
Marseilles wouldn't want to divorce James because of greed, and she wouldn't get as much. She wouldn't get life insurance.
What's even more damning is the testimony of two new witnesses.
Marseilles had already asked, and Shayna had asked, two other people to kill him.
Shayna had had a boyfriend about a year before, and Shayna approached him and said,
My mom's looking for someone to kill James. Do you know where we can get a gun?
And with another of Shayna's boyfriends, Marseilles uses a more direct approach.
Come in. She asked him to come into her stepson's bedroom and then to step into a closet. And he said this whole thing was kind of bizarre, but when they get in the closet, she starts asking him,
if you guys can help me find a gun.
And he said his dad had a gun. Why did she want a gun? And she said, to kill James. I want somebody to kill James. And I would give somebody, I'd send him to truck driving school. I'll give him a truck. I'll give him a jet ski. I'll give him some money. And of course he said, you're crazy. That's not me. I'm not the person for that.
Through their clumsiness, they created witnesses that ended up hurting them in the end.
Marseilles' defense holds firm, claiming Shayna, Colton, and Dallas acted without her consent. And she has a witness to prove it, her own daughter, Shayna. Under cross-examination, Shayna refuses to implicate Marseilles, and Marseilles never accepts responsibility for the crime.
She continually denied that she had anything to do with it. She blamed her daughter for having a bad relationship with James Kelly. She completely absolved herself of any responsibility for it.
Just to go show how smart Shayna really is. She let her own mama throw her under the bus.
But the jury doesn't buy it. On August 4th, 2006, Marseilles is found guilty of capital murder, a conviction that comes with a life sentence and no chance of parole.
She has never respected James. She never treated him well. think she figured once he was out of the way, she could get money, she could do what she wanted with her daughter, she could go date or sleep with whoever she wanted to, and those were her motives.
People like Marseilles tend to greatly overestimate their ability to have it all. Unfortunately, they also tend to greatly overestimate their intelligence and their ability to plan things out and get away with things.
Shayna is also found guilty and sentenced to life without parole.
I hold Marseilles more responsible than Shayna in this case, probably because she was the adult in all of this. She's the one who talked to her 15-year-old daughter about killing her stepfather. What kind of bizarre and twisted relationship is that?
You know this little voice that everybody has inside that tells you something's wrong? Neither one of them have that. It's just not there. They have no conscience.
Dallas Christian pleads guilty to murder and is sentenced to 40 years. Colton Weir is found guilty of capital murder and sentenced to life.
I mean, always felt like he was manipulated, and I'll be happy if he gets to the point he does have a chance at parole, because he hasn't seen a day in the free world since he was about 15 years old.
The family still mourns the loss of their beloved James.
For a wife or a husband that loses their mate, they become a widow. There's not a word for a mother that loses her child. There's not one in the English language bad enough to cover that. There's no way.
I miss my brother a whole bunch. You know, I miss being able to walk up there and just shoot the breeze with James, just, you know, calling me at 2 o'clock in the morning, come pull him out of a mud hole because he's somewhere where he ain't supposed to be. Just, you know, little stuff like that. I missed him.
I know my world will never be right again. You're not supposed to bury your kids. They're supposed to bury you. It's not the way it's supposed to be.